Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with another update coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and there's lots of big news coming out today that I'd like to share with all of you. So, real quick, before we jump into the news, just want to give you guys a heads up. This is going to be my only update video for the day. I'm really not feeling too good. I got sick the other day, and it's really just kicking my butt. I'm really low on energy and not feeling too good. So after this video, we're going to go ahead and rest up and hopefully we feel better by tomorrow. We can get back to this full speed ahead. But I want to thank you so much for your patience, guys, over the last couple days as I have not been feeling too well. So let's go ahead and try to give you guys the news. Last night, Ukraine launched a massive UAV drone attack across Russia, multiple regions being targeted. You can see here on your screen, Ukraine attacks multiple important oil facilities across Russia last night. The UAV forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, in cooperation with other components of the defense forces, struck a number of important Russian targets on the night of March 4th. Okay, so actually, what we had happen last night was multiple oil refineries, oil depots, anything oil related last night was really being heavily attacked. I think this is going to be the most consecutive attacks or like multiple facilities being targeted in one night that I've ever reported to you guys. I think we had one other night recently, probably about a month or two ago, where we had a similar event of multiple facilities being attacked at once. But this is by far probably the most I have ever seen. So I'll go over all these details. We've got some videos coming out, multiple refineries being hit, lots of fires being reported. This video that you're watching here is actually from the Sizran oil refinery, which just got attacked by Ukraine just a couple weeks ago. I think it was like mid-February when they attacked this thing. Now they attacked it again. That's deep into Russia, probably about 800 kilometers away from the border. And also, very big news that got announced yesterday evening. Most of you probably heard about this already, but Ukraine aid has been paused from the United States. Okay, so the Trump administration is not going to be sending any more aid to Ukraine. And we'll talk about what some of the reasons why that might be coming up here in just a little bit. So let's go ahead and jump into the news, guys. We're going to hop it over here to War Translated on X. The General Staff of Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed the targeting of several important facilities of the Russian occupiers. The receiving and delivery station of the Kuibyshev Lysychansk, if I'm saying that right, main oil pipeline in Chertkovo, Rostov region. The line production management of main gas pipelines in the area of Sokoranovka. That's kind of hard to say. Rostov region. Oil refinery in Novoshakhtinsk, Rostov region. Oil refinery in Sizran, Samara region. Fuel and lubricant storage base in Rovenki, Luhansk region. It was a productive night. Okay, so here's a map showing the different facilities that were targeted. So multiples down here in the Rostov region. Looks like we had 3 facilities being hit down here. And some of these have been attacked before. We've talked about these. The Novoshakhtinsk oil refinery, that one was attacked not too long ago. Last we heard, it was shut down at one point. Looks like they did get it back online, and now Ukraine attacked it again. Same with the Sizran oil refinery in the Samara region. Again, we talked about that a couple weeks back. That was attacked also. Looks like we had an oil depot, fuel, lubricant storage base, just all over the place. If you notice, even inside of the Luhansk region of Ukraine, we had a facility being attacked as well. Okay, so just a map to kind of show you guys the different facilities that were attacked last night. Many of these were directly hit. Lots of fires coming out from multiple regions. Okay, but looks like Rostov was the primary target last night. That's in southwestern Russia, by the way. Now from next, amid halted U.S. support, Ukraine's defense forces delivered their successful strike on Russia's oil infrastructure. Overnight, 2 oil refineries, Sizran and Novoshakhtinsk, as well as oil pipeline infrastructure in the Rostov region were hit. The targeted refineries had just resumed production after previous strikes by Ukraine's defense forces. Okay, so we got 3 videos to show you guys here. And this one's going to be the same one that we showed you on the waiting screen when you came in. I believe that's from the Sizran oil refinery. So these videos are kind of just random. We don't know exactly what all these facilities are, but I believe this is the Sizran oil refinery right here. So let's go ahead and jump into this first video and show you guys this.
Вот отсюда
Да тихо
записано.
ты! Опять жужжание. Во!
Вон взрыв откуда. Это совсем близко к нам.
Okay, so we can see a massive UAV drone attack ongoing over here inside of Russia. Not sure if this is the Rostov region or maybe that Samara Sizran oil refinery, but we can hear an explosion there in the background. Drones incoming. We can hear gunfire from the Russian army trying to bring down these drones. And it also looks like a massive fire here in the distance. So it looks like one of these facilities taking a direct hit. So we got a next video to jump into. All right, so we can see a massive fire here at the Sizran oil refinery, from what I understand, is what was hit here. And again, the Sizran oil refinery was literally just shut down just a couple weeks back. They had to shut it down for at least 24 hours due to a drone attack on this facility. I believe it could have been attacked multiple times in 1 week also, if I remember correctly. There's just been so many of these oil refineries being attacked, I can't even keep up anymore. Here's another video coming up for you. Now, this video doesn't have too much sound, but we can see a fire here in the distance at another one of these facilities, okay? So, again, guys, multiple facilities being hit last night, and looks like direct hits on multiples of them at the same time. So, pretty insane news. I can't believe how big of an attack this was from Ukraine last night and how many facilities they went after at once. So, for Max 24 now, Novochoktinsk Oil Products Processing Plant. So this is in the Rostov region. This is the Novochoktinsk oil refinery. And we've talked about this plant multiple times. It's probably been attacked at least 2 or 3 times over the last year. Take a look at this.
Завод горит, блять, заебали уже птички эти ебучие. Задымил. Завод горит.
It looks like we had a direct strike on this facility as well, and maybe multiple fires. There's definitely one right there. Looks like another fire had broken out over here also. So Ukraine is just hammering all these facilities across Russia right now, and pretty successful strikes for the most part is what we have been seeing. Now from Astra, Russian oil depot attacked in Rostov region. According to eyewitnesses, the strikes targeted Cherkovsky district, where an oil depot is located. Acting governor of the region, Yuri Slyuzar, confirmed the attack. Debris from a downed UAV caused a fire at a warehouse on an industrial site in the village of Sokronovka, Cherkovsky district. On February 6th, the area was already hit by a drone attack. No casualties reported. Okay, so it looks like we had an oil depot potentially being hit also. Here's a video that's going to show a consistent flame, and then we got a picture to show you as well. Let's jump into this. All right, just a quick clip. It's only 6 seconds long, but it definitely looks like this oil depot was hit over here. We can see that consistent flame, and that's something we see repeatedly whenever an oil depot is hit. We always see a flame consistently burning like that, okay? So it looks like this oil depot potentially hit last night as well. Here's another picture coming out from the area. You can see that flame there in the distance, okay? So potentially this oil depot taking a direct hit from Ukrainian drones also. So Ukraine very successful last night in their attacks. Also, last night had some reports coming out from the Odessa region of attacks over there as well. This is inside of Ukraine from Savchenko, Volodymyr. Right now, Russia is shelling my city, Odessa, very heavily. The energy infrastructure was damaged. Part of the city was left without electricity. Utilities have already started work on launching generators to operate critical infrastructure, including boiler rooms. So yeah, apparently Russia launched another major drone swarm onto Odessa last night. This has been multiple times over the last month that we've reported coming out from Odessa, and many times their electrical grid being targeted over here and people being stuck without electricity. So very sad to report for the people inside of Odessa. They're just getting hammered over here recently, and it looks like we have a fire breaking out, potentially somebody's home here on the other side of this house. So now we'll move on to next. It's official. The U.S. suspends all current military aid to Ukraine. According to the Pentagon, deliveries of all U.S. military equipment that is not currently in Ukraine have been halted. This includes weapons en route on planes and ships, as well as those awaiting in transit zones in Poland. Zelensky will not be able to return to the Oval Office as long as he refuses to discuss the details of a peace agreement on Ukraine, according to U.S. Vice President Vance. Okay, so that's what Vance said today. So here's a report from Bloomberg. Trump pauses military aid to Ukraine after clash with Zelensky. Move halts all aid currently in transit to help Ukraine. Pause comes after Trump and Zelensky sparred in Oval Office. So yeah, this was back on, was it Saturday or Friday of last week, I think, where we had this meeting between Trump and Zelensky that just really did not go well at all. Zelensky ended up leaving the White House. He got kicked out, I believe, too. And then soon after, we were hearing that aid was going to be halted. So it looks like it has been, as of yesterday, it was announced yesterday evening. And most of you, again, probably know about this right now. So we've got some updates regarding this as well. So here's another update for Vicegrad24 breaking. Reuters reports that U.S. military aid shipments to Ukraine have been suspended indefinitely starting today, okay? So this report was actually from yesterday. This was a more recent report today, okay? So Reuters confirming that U.S. military aid shipments are completely halted, at least temporarily for right now. From what we're hearing, it's a pause. It's not a complete suspension of military aid, but in the meantime, there is a pause, okay? Now, from the Ukrainian Review, Polish border reports confirm that U.S. aid to Ukraine has been suspended, says Polish Prime Minister Tusk. Okay, so Donald Tusk coming out saying that they're confirming on their end aid is completely cut off from Poland, and Poland is a major transport hub of these weapons from Western nations before these weapons enter into Ukraine. So these weapons are now halted inside of Poland as well. Okay, the operations are halted for now. Now, for the Ukrainian Review, today's support from the U.S. continues. We will calmly continue diplomatic work with Congress, the administration, and Trump himself to preserve it, according to Dennis Smile, who's the Prime Minister of Ukraine. Ukraine is absolutely determined to continue cooperation with the U.S. Ukraine is ready to sign an agreement on rare earth metals. We did not consider the possibility of raising tariffs in the near future. So this was a statement coming out from Dennis Smile today, the Prime Minister of Ukraine, in response to U.S. aid being cut. So I wonder if maybe this was a strategic move to kind of get Ukraine moving in terms of trying to end this war. I think that's probably a large reason why this was announced. We have some more updates regarding that as well. So here's that update here from Bliskovka. The suspension of military aid to Ukraine is a temporary pause, according to U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson. Okay, Johnson added that Kiev and Washington should sign an agreement on minerals and Zelensky should fix what happened last week. That's what he stated today. Okay, so U.S. House Speaker Mike Johnson stating it's a temporary pause. I think right now what this is designed to do is to get Ukraine to come to the table, sign an agreement with the U.S. We'll see if that happens to be a thing. And then they're really pushing for Zelensky to come out and apologize to Donald Trump and fix their relations with the U.S. I feel like they're kind of trying to do that right now, but I do have an update later towards the end of this video of Zelensky. It looks like Zelensky, at least according to BBC today, is not too fond about trying to resolve relations with Trump in terms of that argument they had last week. Now for Max 24, France intends to raise all possible funds to compensate for the suspension of American military aid to Ukraine, French Prime Minister said. Okay, so the Prime Minister of France coming out also and stated they're going to try to do whatever they can to make up for the lost funds and military aid coming from the United States, as Germany's going to have to start picking up the load now, especially if it gets cut off indefinitely, okay? Now for Max 24 again, Patriot missile cuts will leave much of Ukraine in ruins like Kharkiv, the Economist reported today. Ukrainian military says halting U.S. military aid to Ukraine will also lead to a lot of Bakhmuts and more military deaths. Okay, this was a report today. As Trump suspends military aid, what are the brutal chokeholds on Ukraine? The war-torn country can substitute some, but nothing like all of the kit it gets from America. Okay, so yeah, we know this already, that the U.S. supports a lot of military aid to Ukraine. So, I mean, if they cut it off completely in a short time, if Ukraine starts to run out of weaponry, yeah, they're going to be losing a lot of ground. Russia's going to definitely take advantage of that. They're going to be probably moving a lot quicker than they are right now. So we'll see what happens and how long this pause lasts for. It might not last too long. We'll see. Also for Max 24 again, Ukrainian authorities believe that the suspension of military aid from the U.S. will lead to the loss of territory. Okay, this was also from Politico today. Ukraine will have to choose whether to protect an airfield, power plant, or weapons factory due to a shortage of interceptor missiles for 5 Patriot systems. That appears to be a big issue for Ukraine right now as well, is they're short on Patriot missile system interceptors. Okay, so that's not good. If they don't have very many of these, they're not going to be able to bring down a lot of the incoming missiles to their territory. And they clearly need more of them. So if the U.S. is not going to be supplying more, they're probably going to have a shortage, and they're going to have to decide which missiles they shoot down, what areas of their country they protect, and that's going to lead to more devastation across their country. So that's not good news for Ukraine. Also for Bliskovka, Ukraine has enough weapons for 6 months, even without the systematic support of the U.S. We are looking for alternatives. This was reported by a member of the Defense Committee, Fedir Venislavsky. Okay, so yeah, this gentleman apparently also claiming that Ukraine has 6 months of weapons, and even if these weapons get cut off from the U.S. completely, they'll be able to last at least for 6 months, and then maybe Europe will be able to pick up whatever's left over. We're going to be hearing about a lot of aid packages for Ukraine probably this week by Friday. And looks like Europe's going to start to pick up a lot of the heavy load. But at the same time, we know right now Ukraine is starting to work towards some sort of agreement to try to end this war, potentially with the UK and France, or maybe with the US. We don't really know everything yet, but we know Ukraine is working towards that right now. Also, for Max 24 again, the U.S. continues to provide intelligence to Ukraine. RBC Ukraine sources reported today. There have been no changes in the provision of intelligence to Ukraine by the U.S. as of now. So I thought that was interesting. So they're still giving intelligence to Ukraine. They're just not giving them weapons. Why would they not cut off intelligence as well? That's what makes me think that they are going to reverse this at some point and continue providing Ukraine with aid. I think it's just a temporary pause right now to kind of put a fire under Zelensky's butt, get him to start moving, move on this minerals deal for the U.S. and Ukraine, and potentially start working towards a peace agreement with Russia. Most likely, that's what we're seeing here, but we'll see what happens. Also for Max 24, again, the Air Force destroyed military facility of the 28th Rifle Battalion of the 60th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade of the Russian Armed Forces in Troitsko, Kursk region. As a result of the attack, enemy dugouts, firing positions, and up to 30 servicemen involved in combat operations against Ukraine were destroyed. This location was used for planning and executing attacks, including launching FPV drones against Ukrainian positions. Okay, so it looks like we had a military facility in the Kursk region once again taking a direct hit, most likely from missiles fired from Ukraine, or maybe they dropped some bombs over there. And this is multiple times we've seen this, okay? Lots of like command centers in the Kursk region being hit. And as far as we know, we haven't heard too many updates coming out from Kursk, but from what I understand, the Ukrainians are still holding their ground over there, and Russia hasn't really taken any gains over there as far as I've seen over the last couple weeks, okay? So move on to another update now from Nexta. Ukraine agrees to terms. Zelensky declares readiness for peace and takes a step towards reconciliation with Trump. The president of Ukraine and his team are ready to work under the strong leadership of President Trump. We truly appreciate how much America has done to help Ukraine preserve its sovereignty and independence. And we remember the moment when everything changed, when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. We are grateful for that. Our meeting in Washington and the White House on Friday did not go as planned. It's unfortunate that it happened this way. It's time to make things right. The U.S. had previously hinted publicly that Zelensky needed to apologize for the White House incident and return to the negotiating table. Bloomberg reported that Ukrainian president might have to humbly beg for Trump's favor, as a simple apology would not be enough. So this was a statement coming out from Zelensky today. Let's read this. It says here, I would like to reiterate Ukraine's commitment to peace. None of us want an endless war. Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than Ukrainians. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We are ready to work fast to end the war, and the first stages could be the release of prisoners and truce in the sky, ban on missiles, long-range drones, bombs on energy and other civilian infrastructure, and truce in the sea immediately if Russia will do the same. Then we want to move very fast through all next stages and to work with the U.S. to agree on a strong final deal. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence, and we remember the moment when things changed when President Trump provided Ukraine with javelins. We are grateful for this. Our meeting in Washington at the White House on Friday did not go the way it was supposed to be. It is regrettable that it happened this way. It is time to make things right. We would like future cooperation and communication to be constructive. Okay, so as we can see, Zelensky coming out completely agreeing with Trump when Trump was arguing with him at the White House, and Trump was saying, be grateful. Trump gave you guys javelins to take out all those tanks. And, that was a big problem there. That was a big issue between Trump and Zelensky at the time, is the Trump team was basically saying that Zelensky was being ungrateful. And you can see here, he's in a way sort of like apologizing, it kind of seems like, towards Trump, and also thanking him for his efforts. And at the same time, opening up to negotiations is what it seems like here. And can we potentially see that happening very soon? It looks like we could be on that right path to seeing Russia and Ukraine negotiating soon, as it looks like, according to this statement, Ukraine is starting to open up a little bit more. Okay. Now, from Max 24, Nikolevsky Vanek writes that Russia is preparing missile attacks that will destroy the energy sector of Ukraine. He believes that Trump has such an agreement with Putin that U.S. is stopping aid and Russia is shelling the energy sector to force Ukraine to bad peace. Okay, that would be really bad if that were to be the case. And we've been kind of seeing this recently. We had a report just the other day that Russia was preparing to launch upwards of 500 attack drones onto Ukraine every day. So there's just more reports coming out that Russia could be preparing some major attacks onto Ukraine. And you know what? Lately, too, we haven't seen a massive missile attack onto Ukraine. So is that coming soon? I mean, Russia's been saving up their missiles for quite some time now. I think the last time we had a missile attack was maybe in Kiev, potentially, I don't know, maybe 3 to 4 weeks ago, maybe longer. So if Russia is still, stacking up on their missiles, they could be preparing for a massive attack across Ukraine, potentially targeting their energy sector to completely wipe it out. That could be really bad. Just want to give you guys that update there. Also, from next, Europe plans to spend 150 billion euros on weapons for Ukraine. The European Commission is proposing a new mechanism that will allow EU countries to significantly accelerate, and expand military aid to Ukraine, Ursula von der Leyen announced. The EU will propose allocating 150 billion euros in loans for the production of air defense systems and weapons for Ukrainians. European Commission also suggests increasing defense spending for European countries by 1.5% of GDP and may allocate up to 800 billion euros for its own defense. While Trump is scaling back American security efforts in Europe, the continent is entering an era of rearmament. I would have to agree with that. So this is the president of the EU Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, and she's going to be announcing that Europe's basically rearming right now, and they're also going to be giving some major loans over to Ukraine, so approximately up to 150 billion euros. Take a look at this.
We are in an era of rearmament, and Europe is ready to massively boost its defense spending, both to respond to the short-term urgency to act and to support Ukraine, but also to address the long-term need to take on more responsibility for our own European security. The second proposal will be a new instrument. It will provide 150 billion euros of loans to member states for defense investment. This will help member states to pool demand and to buy together. And of course, with this equipment, member states can massively step up their support to Ukraine. So immediate military equipment for Ukraine. We are in
some more evidence here that Europe is really stepping up to protect themselves and produce their own weapons and increase defense spending while at the same time boosting support for Ukraine. Okay, so that's a new plan that the EU is preparing right now to be able to arm Ukraine and themselves. Now, also from next, French Mirage 2005F fighter jet just appeared in Ukrainian skies. Okay, this is probably the second video we've seen now, or at least pictures that were coming out recently showing these Mirage jets. We know Ukraine has a handful of these right now. Take a look at this video. It's just 5 seconds. All right, very awesome to see that thing in the skies over Ukraine, and I'm sure Ukraine's already using this on combat missions. And I don't know how many of these that they have. I want to say they could have anywhere between 2 and 6 of these, maybe more. But we reported recently that Ukraine had received a batch of these that they can currently use for their Air Force. All right, now moving on to Megatron Ron breaking. Russia killed 30 Western instructors in a missile attack in Ukraine. According to the Kiev Post today, a Russian missile hit a Ukrainian military training base, reportedly killing 150 Ukrainian soldiers and 30 foreign instructors, according to Ukrainian media. The head of the ground forces, Mikhail Drapati, if I'm saying that right, the tragedy at the training ground is a terrible consequence of an enemy strike. War requires quick decisions, responsibility, and new safety standards. Otherwise, we lose more than we have. Okay, so this is actually not the first time we've seen something like this, but actually mainstream media is picking this up. The Kiev Post was reporting this. Okay, so 30 Western instructors being killed and 150 Ukrainian soldiers that were training at a base inside of Ukraine being hit by missiles from Russia, and looks like we had 30 foreign instructors that were killed. So This is actually some rumors that were passing around. This was months back, probably 6 months or so, that we heard like in the Lviv region that sometimes Russia would launch missiles over there. And there were some reports of training grounds that were being hit. It wasn't like completely confirmed at the time, but not sure if this is something that happens frequently, but we have reported to you guys before some unconfirmed reports that some NATO bases were being hit and many times Western instructors being killed. But yeah, this was being reported by Kiev Post today, so pretty crazy news. Now, from the Ukrainian Review, Zelensky has no intention of apologizing to Trump or expressing regret for what happened in the Oval Office, according to the BBC. Okay, this is that report I was telling you guys about earlier. He noted that he had been to the White House for several dozen hours and that his visit was in itself a sign of respect. He also said that he had not offended anyone and that the dispute that erupted in the Oval Office was not positive for either side. Okay, so Zelensky confirming that yes, the conversation obviously didn't go well between the U.S. and Ukraine while he visited last week, but according to the BBC, it looks like he's not really open to apologizing. Man, I haven't really seen him come out and fully apologize to Trump yet, but he is showing his respect to the United States, at least in that statement that came out earlier, and basically showing support for the U.S. and stating that they're willing to continue working with the U.S. But no official apology coming out just yet, from what I've seen. Now, from next, Australia open to sending peacekeeping troops to Ukraine. Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese says his government will consider any proposal to send troops to Ukraine as part of a multinational peacekeeping force as Europe considers a coalition of the willing to enforce any peace deal. We stand with President Zelensky and the brave struggle of the people of Ukraine to defend their natural sovereignty, Albanese said. Okay, so Australia also open to sending troops to Ukraine and send a peacekeeping contingent over there in the event that we get a ceasefire deal between Russia and Ukraine. So that's very big. Multiple countries now. The UK, I believe France is open to it. And we also have now Australia. Okay, I think Canada also announced just the other day too that they were willing to do so also. So lots of support coming for Ukraine. Okay. Now for Max 24, Russian radar station from the S-300, S-400 air defense missile system was burning on the Yevpatoria highway around noon in occupied Crimea. Okay, this was a video that was just breaking today, and we had an S-300 system here that was burning. So I'm not sure exactly what caused this fire, but something did that caused it to burn down. I'm not sure if it was some type of malfunction on this thing or technical issue, or if we had some sort of sabotage attack, maybe, as we do have partisans inside of Crimea that do this from time to time. So it looks like we had a destruction here of an air defense system, okay? Now from Bliskovka, air defense forces of Ukraine destroyed 65 out of 99 Russian UAVs. 32 Russian imitator UAVs were lost locally without negative consequences. Okay, so here's that report today of how many drones were entering into Ukraine. So a lot less than we've been seeing recently. Yesterday, I think, was around 83, and today, 99. Okay, still a lot of drones entering into Ukraine, but there was a good 2-week period, I want to say, just prior to yesterday, where we had upwards of 150 to 200 drones entering Ukraine. So today, only 99. So a lot less than we have seen recently. All right, now finally, our last update of the day from Petrik Piotrowkin. That's kind of hard to say, guys. Sorry, I can't pronounce that name. All right, so our final update here. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of March 4th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. So I thought it was interesting. This gentleman was able to find this post and pull it up, but Kiev Independent didn't even post it themselves on X. So I'm not sure how this guy got this, but he was able to post it here for us. So I had to use his post today. So Russia's losses as of March 4th, 1,340 troops, 8 AFVs, 101 vehicles and fuel tanks, 3 tanks only today, 45 artillery systems, 86 UAVs, and 1 anti-aircraft warfare system. Okay, so not too much being destroyed today. I mean, take a look at this. Only 100 vehicles and fuel tanks. That's some of the lowest numbers we've seen recently. Only 8 AFVs. And the lowest amount of tanks that I've seen in a while. Only 3 tanks over the last 24 hours. And that troop number is still right around the same. We've been seeing on average about 1,300. So not too much equipment destroyed over the last 24 hours on the Russian side. And guys, I want to thank you so much for your patience here again while I was not feeling too good today. But we tried our best to get the news out for you and hope you did enjoy this news update today. So I should be here tomorrow. I'm going to rest up today and try to, take some more medicine, take a nap, and try to rest up and feel a little bit better. Hopefully by tomorrow we'll feel a lot better. We can get back into this full steam ahead for you guys and pump out more news. But I want to thank you very much for tuning in and hanging out here with me today. If you did get something out of this update, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.